Have you ever planned the perfect surprise for someone you loved more than yourself, only to discover that you were the one being surprised? If someone had told me that Valentine's Day would destroy my marriage before sunset, I would have laughed and told them they were watching too many drama movies. But life doesn't ask for permission before it changes everything. My name is Emily, and for 12 years, I believed I had the perfect husband. At least, that's what I thought. The morning of Valentine's Day began with excitement dancing through my veins. I woke up before sunrise, unable to sleep. The bedroom was still dark, but my heart felt brighter than Christmas morning. Beside me, my husband Daniel was sleeping peacefully. I watched him for a moment and smiled. 12 years. 12 years of shared dreams. 12 years of inside jokes. 12 years of building a life together. I gently brushed a strand of hair from his forehead. "Happy Valentine's Day," I whispered. He opened one eye and smiled. "Happy Valentine's Day, beautiful." That smile still had the power to make me feel 16 years old. I kissed his cheek. He wrapped an arm around me and pulled me closer. For a moment, everything felt perfect. Looking back now, that's what hurts the most. Not the betrayal. The illusion. The fact that I was standing in paradise while the ground beneath me was already collapsing. Daniel got ready for work faster than usual. His company was preparing for some major business event, and he'd been working late for weeks. I never complained. I believed in supporting my husband. Before leaving, he kissed my forehead. "I'll probably be home late." I pouted dramatically. "On Valentine's Day?" He laughed. "I'll make it up to you." "You better." "I promise." Then he left. I stood by the window watching his car disappear. If I had known that would be the last time I'd ever trust that promise, I would have memorized every second. Instead, I spent the day preparing a surprise. Daniel thought we were having dinner at home. But I'd spent 2 months secretly saving money to book a reservation at the most beautiful restaurant in the city. Not only that, I had purchased tickets for a weekend getaway. A place he'd always dreamed of visiting. I imagined his face when he opened the envelope. I imagined his smile. I imagined him wrapping me in his arms and saying I was the best wife in the world. The thought made me grin all afternoon. By 5 o'clock, I was dressed and ready. I wore the red dress Daniel always loved. The one he called dangerous. "You wear that dress and I forget my own name." His words still echoed in my head. Funny how memories can become knives. Around 6, I decided to deliver the surprise personally. His office wasn't far away. I thought I'd show up unexpectedly, hand him the envelope, and watch his face light up. It felt romantic. Like something from a movie. I carried a bouquet of roses in one hand and the envelope in the other. My heart practically floated all the way there. The office building was decorated for Valentine's Day. Red balloons. Flowers. Soft music. Employees moved through the lobby smiling. I approached the receptionist. "Hi, I'm Daniel's wife." She smiled warmly. "Oh, he's upstairs. Can I surprise him?" "Of course." She pointed me toward the executive floor. I thanked her and headed for the elevator. The higher it climbed, the more excited I became. I imagined Daniel's reaction over and over. The doors opened. The floor was unusually quiet. Most employees seemed gathered in a large conference room at the end of the hallway. Music drifted through the air. People were whispering. Some were recording with their phones. Curious, I walked closer. Then I heard applause. Loud applause. Cheers. Laughter. Someone shouted, "Say yes." I smiled. Maybe some employee was getting engaged. How sweet. I moved closer. Then I heard a voice. A voice I knew better than my own. "Daniel." My smile froze. My feet stopped moving. The bouquet suddenly felt heavier. No. That couldn't be right. I stepped forward. One more step. Then another. And suddenly I could see inside the room. The world stopped. My husband was on one knee, holding a diamond ring, looking up at a woman. Not me. His CEO. The room exploded with cheers. People clapped. Some wiped tears from their eyes. The CEO covered her mouth in shock. Daniel looked at her like she was the center of the universe. Like she was his dream. Like she was his future. The roses slipped from my hand. One flower hit the floor. Then another. Then all of them. Nobody noticed. Nobody noticed the wife standing in the doorway while her entire life shattered into pieces. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I couldn't even cry. Because some part of me still believed I was misunderstanding what I was seeing. Then Daniel spoke. And every remaining piece of my heart broke. I've waited so long to ask you this. The room became silent. His eyes never left hers. Will you marry me? And that's when my world ended. The moment I heard my husband ask another woman to marry him, I learned something terrifying about heartbreak. It doesn't always arrive with screams. Sometimes it arrives quietly. Sometimes it simply steals the air from your lungs and leaves you standing there, frozen, while the rest of the world keeps moving. For a few seconds, nobody noticed me. Everyone was watching Daniel. Everyone was watching the CEO. Everyone was waiting for her answer. I stood in the doorway holding an envelope that suddenly felt ridiculous. Inside it were tickets for a romantic getaway. A surprise for the man who was proposing to someone else. The irony would have been funny if it hadn't been destroying me. The CEO looked emotional. Her eyes filled with tears. She nodded. The room erupted. People cheered. People clapped. Someone started laughing with excitement. Phones were recording. Champagne bottles appeared from nowhere. And right in the middle of it all, Danielle slid the ring onto her finger. I felt my knees weaken. Then one employee turned around. His smile disappeared instantly. His eyes widened. Oh. Another employee followed his gaze. Then another. Then another. The celebration began slowing down like a machine losing power. One by one, people noticed me. The wife. The woman in the red dress. The woman standing there with tears filling her eyes. The room became painfully silent. Daniel frowned. Confused. Then he turned. The second he saw me, the color drained from his face. I had never seen someone go from happy to terrified so quickly. Emily? His voice cracked. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The CEO looked from him to me. Then back to him. Then to the ring on her finger. Her expression changed completely. Confusion. Shock. Realization. Emily, she repeated. I finally found my voice. It barely sounded like mine. Your wife. The room seemed to shrink around us. Daniel opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. Nothing came out. For 12 years, he'd always known exactly what to say. Now he couldn't find a single word. I laughed. Not because anything was funny. Because sometimes pain becomes so overwhelming that laughter is the only thing stopping you from collapsing. A strange sound escaped my lips. Broken. Shaky. Almost hysterical. Several employees lowered their eyes. A woman near the back started crying. She looked more upset than my husband did. I held up the envelope. Funny thing is. My voice trembled. I came here to surprise you. Daniel took a step forward. Emily, please. No. The word came out sharper than I intended. He stopped immediately. For the first time, I looked directly at the CEO. She appeared just as shocked as everyone else. Maybe even more. She slowly removed her hand from Daniel's. What's happening? Daniel rubbed his face. Laura. So her name was Laura. The woman my husband apparently loved. The woman he wanted to marry. The woman who had no idea she was standing inside a nightmare. Laura stared at him. You told me you were divorced. The room gasped. A collective inhale. Daniel looked trapped. Cornered. Exposed. And suddenly everything became clear. Not just to me. To everyone. Laura's face hardened. You said the divorce was finalized 2 years ago. I watched Daniel carefully. Waiting. Praying. Begging internally for him to deny it. To explain. To reveal there was some misunderstanding. But he couldn't. Because the truth was standing in front of us. He lowered his head. And that was answer enough. Laura stepped backward as if he'd physically struck her. No. Her voice shook. No, no, no. Daniel reached toward her. Laura, let me explain. She recoiled. Don't touch me. The room felt like it might explode. Employees exchanged nervous glances. Nobody knew whether to stay or leave. I didn't know whether to cry or scream. Laura suddenly pulled the engagement ring off her finger. The diamond sparkled under the lights for one brief moment. Then she threw it. It hit Daniel squarely in the chest. The sound echoed through the room. I can't believe you. Daniel flinched. Laura's eyes filled with tears. You lied to me. Then she looked at me. And what I saw in her face surprised me. It wasn't guilt. It wasn't arrogance. It was heartbreak. The same heartbreak crushing me. Because she had been deceived too. She wasn't the villain. She was another victim. And somehow that realization hurt even more. Daniel had destroyed 2 lives at the same time. Laura wiped her eyes. Then she walked directly toward me. The room watched in silence. When she reached me, she spoke softly. I'm sorry. I stared at her. For several seconds neither of us moved. Then something unexpected happened. I nodded. Because I believed her. She looked devastated. Not guilty. Devastated. She had fallen in love with a lie. Just like I had. Laura glanced once more at Daniel. Then she walked away. The conference room doors slammed behind her. The sound felt final. Daniel turned toward me. His eyes were desperate. Panicked. Emily, please listen to me. I looked at him. Really looked at him. And for the first time in 12 years, I didn't recognize the man standing in front of me. Who was he? Where was the husband who kissed my forehead every morning? Where was the man who promised to grow old beside me? Where was the person I trusted with my entire heart? Had he ever existed? Or had I simply loved a version of him that wasn't real? How long? I asked quietly. Daniel swallowed. His silence answered before his words did. 8 months. The room spun. 8 months. 8 months of lies. 8 months of fake late-night meetings. 8 months of fake business trips. 8 months of kissing me goodbye every morning while building another life behind my back. I smiled. A small broken smile. The kind people wear when they're trying not to fall apart. Wow. That was all I could say. Just one word. Because there weren't enough words in any language for what I was feeling. Then I handed him the envelope. He stared at it. What is this? I shrugged. My Valentine's surprise. Slowly, he opened it. His hands shook. When he saw the tickets, tears filled his eyes. A weekend getaway. His dream destination. Everything paid for. Everything planned. Everything prepared by the wife he had betrayed. The sight seemed to destroy whatever composure he had left. He began crying. Actually crying. But strangely, I felt nothing. Not satisfaction. Not anger. Nothing. My tears had already been spent. My heart was already exhausted. And I realized something important. The man crying in front of me wasn't crying because he loved me. He was crying because he had finally been caught. And those are two very different things. I turned around and started walking toward the door. Behind me, Daniel's voice cracked through the silence. "Emily, please don't leave." I stopped. Just for a second. Without turning around, I gave him the last Valentine's gift he would ever receive from me. The truth. "You lost me long before today." Then I walked away. And this time, he couldn't follow me. When I walked out of that office, I thought the hardest part was over. I was wrong. Finding out your husband has betrayed you breaks your heart. But rebuilding yourself afterward? That takes a different kind of strength. The kind nobody talks about. The kind that shows up when you don't have a choice. I don't remember much about the drive home. Only flashes. Traffic lights. Rain starting against the windshield. My trembling hands gripping the steering wheel. At some point, I pulled over because I couldn't see the road anymore. Not because of the rain. Because of the tears. I cried so hard my chest hurt. The kind of crying that comes from somewhere deep inside. The kind that leaves you gasping for air. I sat there for nearly an hour. Alone. Broken. Wondering how 12 years could disappear in a single afternoon. Eventually, my phone started ringing. Daniel. Again. And again. And again. I ignored every call. Then the messages started. "Please talk to me. I'm sorry. I made a terrible mistake. I love you." That last one almost made me laugh. Love. People use that word so easily. But love isn't what you say. It's what you do. And his actions had already spoken. When I finally got home, the house felt unfamiliar. Every photo on the wall suddenly looked fake. Every memory felt contaminated. I walked into the kitchen and saw the Valentine's decorations I'd spent days preparing. Candles. Flowers. His favorite dessert. A card that began with the words, "To the love of my life." I couldn't finish reading it. I sank to the floor and cried all over again. That night, Daniel never came home. Neither did I sleep. The next morning, I hired a lawyer. Not because I hated him. Because I finally respected myself. For weeks afterward, my life became a blur of paperwork, meetings, and difficult conversations. Friends were shocked. Family members were furious. Some wanted revenge. Others wanted explanations. I wanted peace. That's all. Just peace. One afternoon, about a month later, there was a knock on my door. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, I froze. Laura. Daniel's CEO. The woman he had proposed to. For a second, neither of us spoke. Then she offered a nervous smile. "I know this is strange." I nodded. "Very strange." She almost laughed. I almost laughed too. Life had become so absurd that laughter felt more natural than anger. "I won't stay long," she said. I stepped aside. "Come in." We sat in the living room. The same living room where Daniel and I had once planned our future. Now two women sat there discussing the wreckage he'd left behind. Laura looked exhausted. The kind of exhausted that sleep can't fix. "I'm resigning from the company." I blinked. "What?" She nodded. The entire situation became a disaster. I could imagine. Rumors. Whispers. Office gossip. Videos from the proposal had apparently spread throughout the company. Daniel had become famous for all the wrong reasons. Laura sighed. I wanted to tell you something in person. I remained silent. She looked directly at me. I truly didn't know. I believe you. Her eyes immediately filled with tears. Not dramatic tears. Relieved tears. As though she'd been carrying guilt she didn't deserve. Thank you. For the first time I noticed how similar our pain was. Different circumstances. Same wound. Neither of us had known the real Daniel. Laura shook her head. I loved who I thought he was. I smiled sadly. So did I. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then something unexpected happened. We both started laughing. Softly at first. Then harder. Not because anything was funny. Because life had become ridiculous. Because two strangers had been tricked by the same man. Because if we didn't laugh, we'd cry again. The laughter quickly turned into tears. Then laughter. Then tears. A strange mixture of heartbreak and healing. Before leaving, Laura hugged me. It felt surprisingly natural. We're going to be okay, she whispered. I didn't fully believe it yet. But I wanted to. Months passed. Then more months. The divorce became official. Daniel tried repeatedly to reconcile. Letters. Flowers. Calls. Apologies. Promises. I listened to none of them. Some bridges burned too completely to rebuild. One evening, nearly a year after Valentine's Day, I was sitting on a beach during a solo vacation. Ironically, it was the same destination I'd originally purchased for Daniel and me. I ended up going alone. Best decision I ever made. The sunset painted the ocean gold. Children played in the distance. Couples walked hand in hand. And for the first time in a very long time, my heart felt calm. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Curious, I opened it. It was Daniel. A new number. Just one sentence. I will spend the rest of my life regretting what I did. I stared at the message. Then I looked out at the ocean. A year earlier, those words would have shattered me. Now? They simply felt sad. Not for me. For him. Because regret is a prison with no release date. I typed a response. Just one sentence. I hope you find peace. Then I blocked the number. Not out of anger. Out of closure. As darkness settled over the water, I realized something. Valentine's Day hadn't destroyed my life. It had revealed the truth. And the truth, painful as it was, had set me free. The husband I loved never really existed. But the woman I became afterward? She was stronger than I ever imagined. I smiled as the waves rolled onto the shore. For the first time in years, I wasn't thinking about betrayal. I wasn't thinking about Daniel. I wasn't thinking about the proposal. I was thinking about tomorrow. And tomorrow finally looked beautiful.